It was day 3 of this adventure, and today we were going to explore Shanghai city centre on our own. We wanted to discover Shanghai's legendary shopping district and explore the Jing'an Temple.
And Sai wanted to find a bar and try more local Chinese beers. After breakfast, we walked from our hotel to the nearby metro station. This was a 10-minute walk, and as we descended underground, we faced the challenge of working out how to buy a ticket.
We were told we could do it using Alipay like everything else so far, but, well...
What are you doing, Si, to get a ticket?
I've got no idea. We've got absolutely got to get a ticket. We were told we could do Alipay, but it doesn't seem that we can yet, or at least I can't work out how to do it. Trying to do this translate stuff, so we'll get it. We'll work it out some way or the other.
Mensa-minded Chris, however, worked it out by reading the instructions that were thankfully in English on the actual ticket machine. Always read the instructions, Si. Actually, why break a habit of a lifetime? Or get your eyes tested when you get home. And after we had bought tickets from the ticket machine, Si did discover how to buy a ticket using Alipay, and he suddenly felt a lot better about things.
So one other thing you can do, if you don't want to use a ticket machine, you can actually set up Alipay to give you a QR code which you can just scan on a sort of a barcode reader as you go through the turnstiles. There are some instructions by most machines. Obviously if you use your Translate app to translate the instructions, you can do that. I have done that actually, but it's just as easy as using ticket machines in all honesty, and it's only 3 yuan a ride as well, so it's a real bargain. So public transport in Shanghai, a real hit. Anyhow, our worries about navigating the metro quickly evaporated. We boarded the metro train and even the signage was in English as well as Chinese. And a short 4-stop ride took us to the East Nanjing Road station, the heart of Shanghai's shopping district and close to the Bund.
This wide street was filled with high-end brands and local shopping chains. As we walked towards the Bund, the distinctive skyline of Pudong took centre stage on the horizon.
We saw again the famous Peace Hotel, and some spectators appeared to be waiting in the hope of some celebrity spotting. No such luck though, and after a bit more exploring around the Bund, we headed back westward along the East Nanjing Road.
Si had some very important shopping to do. Very important. Go on, Si, you better tell everyone.
So an important bit of shopping done early doors, and here, like a complete idiot, I came on holiday without a belt for my trousers, so I've been holding my trousers up with a shoelace for the last couple of days. Embarrassing, but that's what gives my wife plenty of material to write her book about. So anyway, we've just on Nanjing Road and there's loads of high brand shops here, so I've been into Levi's and I bought myself a posh belt. There you go, treat myself on holiday. Right, we're going to do a bit more exploring. There's loads of lovely shops here. Just seen a Sega shop as well. I haven't seen one of those for a long time. Anyway, stick with us as we explore some more of downtown Shanghai. We continued our walk along this vast shopping street, and the sight and sounds in this area were wonderful. A sign indicating an indoor food market, however, was something that we just couldn't walk past. The universal language of shopping is something that unites us all, and although the goods on offer may vary country by country, the hunt for a bargain purchase is something that most of us enjoy. The variety of foods on offer though was incredible, and there was a food court too. It was a bit early for a big lunch though, so we thought we'd better get some snacks instead. And after browsing the whole market, we sat outside and enjoyed our purchased snacks. What are you going for?
Well, these biscuits were translated like some sort of pizza type biscuit. Tried them. It's like a very crispy shortbready type cookie. Oh, delicious.
Expensive?
No, £2.80 for this bag. God, £2.80. Whew.
That was the Shanghai food hall, wasn't it?
Absolutely delicious.
Fascinating in there. Well, you better eat them because it's lunchtime.
Si struggled to walk past the M&M shop. Think of your waistline, Si. Your new belt might not fit. Chris, on the other hand, couldn't walk past the Lego shop. He claimed he was looking for gifts for his grandson.
Our walk westward took us to People's Park, and we diverted off the shopping street to explore this recreational park used by Shanghai's local population. It's an oasis of nature deep in the heart of the city.
And this was a peaceful place, with the sounds of wildlife providing the only soundtrack. The park was established in 1952 on the site of an old racecourse.
It covers 98,000 square meters and includes some really distinctive features, including the Baisal Lake, the Zishan waterfall, which wasn't working when we visited, and the fabulous lotus pond.
It was wonderful to walk around this pleasant park, admire all the plants and witness local people enjoying some relaxing time. A selfie in front of some gorgeous giant lilies before we headed to the on-site Starbucks for a cheeky coffee.
So we've done our walk around People's Park. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's absolutely superb, fantastic.
Really pretty, lovely lily pads and lotus plants. And
Lots of good wildlife out there. We heard all the birds singing, the local bird population.
Nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head down to one of the city temples, and that's one stop on the metro.
One stop on the metro, Jing'an Temple.
I thought, oh, do we walk it? But it's 45 minutes to walk it apparently. So that's gives you an idea of distances between the places in Shanghai. So
I think it's a good way of burning calories, though.
We travelled again by the metro system to the Jing'an Temple, and as we emerged from the underground we realised the enormity of the temple complex above us.
This looked an impressive place and we queued at the entrance. We paid 50 yuan each to enter and we headed into the central courtyard.
Incense was being burned in the courtyard, and for an extra 10 yuan each you could buy your own incense sticks and make a peace offering in this most special of places. And the tradition is that you light your incense stick with your left hand as a sign of respect.
So we've arrived at the Jing'an Temple, and apologies if I've pronounced that terribly. I need to improve on my pronunciations. Hopefully I'll get there. Some kind people have corrected me so far. Anyway, it's fantastic. We paid 50 RMB each to get in. It's fiver. Good value, and look at this, it is stunning. Plenty to explore, and there's some incense burning going on in the courtyard here, and the big sort of pot thing in the middle, there's people throwing coins at it. Of what I can understand so far is it's good luck if you can aim your shot correctly and get it through one of the sort of gaps in the pot so it gets into that your coin lands inside. Apparently that's supposed to be very good luck, apparently. That's why people are throwing money at it. Genius, eh?
The sight of people throwing coins at the Fortune and Wisdom Cauldron was quite something. You can throw your own coins or scan a QR code at a machine and it will dispense some for you to throw.
This looked a load of fun, so we thought we'd better try our luck.
So Chris never played cricket for school, but he's going to have a go at getting a coin in the gap. And he missed.
And I missed too. Then Nettie missed. And then Alison missed.
Okay, Fortune and Wisdom are off the menu today. Let's go and explore the temple.
Jing'an Temple is one of the oldest and largest Buddhist temples in Shanghai. It's nearly 1,000 years old and has been drawing pilgrims and visitors for centuries.
Although it's located right in the heart of the city, within its walls you can't escape the serenity and peace that oozes from the walls of every building.
And there is so much to see and explore within. And this included the Jing'an 7-storey pagoda, which is a striking sight with the gold leaf and bronze creating a mesmerising appearance. There is also the temple gate, the 2-storey gatehouse with 3 teak doors and a granite-clad wall, and it also has a striking second-floor hall made entirely of teak with a beautiful Buddha statue within.
There is also a bell tower which contains a 7.3-ton bronze bell, but it wasn't open to the public during our visit.
There's also the Guanyin Pavilion with its beautiful statue of Bodhisattva Guanyin made entirely from a single piece of camphor wood.
And also the Muni Hall with its imposing 11-ton statue of the Buddha Muni carved from pure white jade, a truly remarkable sight radiating grace, peace and dignity.
The central structure within the temple is the Mahavira Hall. The teak interior is spectacular, but is outdone by the 15-ton solid silver statue of Shakyamuni Buddha. This was exceptionally beautiful and we were in awe of it.
And the incredible 3-sage hall containing 3 incredible statues and a place of sanctity and peace.
There is also the spectacular sight of the lion-topped 18-metre high Sanskrit pillar, the Fan Shung, outside the temple, which is a modern replica of the ancient Ashoka pillar and represents the spreading of the Dharma and the Buddha's message. The entire complex is a delight to explore as you wander around these ornate timber buildings.
We grabbed selfies and ensured we read every signboard we could find.
Before we left, we tried again to throw coins into the Fortune and Wisdom Cauldron, and success! Fortune and wisdom awaits us then. We were still only a few days into this trip, so that felt like a good omen. The 2 hours spent in the temple flew past, and we left in a very different frame of mind than when we entered.
It was such a special place, and it clearly affected us all. Even Chris was quiet. Well, for a short while in any case.
Tummies though were beginning to rumble. We took the metro back to our hotel stop and wanted to try a buffet style restaurant that we'd spotted early in the morning.
This was fun to navigate, and we each grabbed a tray of tasty food for just £2 each. Such great value.
We walked back to our hotel to freshen up and call home. We had ticked off most of the things we'd set out to do this day, with one exception.
Si still needed his Chinese beer, and later that evening we walked out in the neighbourhood surrounding our hotel in search of a bar.
We walked down dark streets and like an apparition, a friendly bar called Gear came into view.
Like Si had discovered his paradise, this was actually a craft brewery. Was this the work of the coin in the cauldron?
Got a Gear, anyone? Actually, look at all those ales to choose from. Wow! And the night had well and truly begun. So this series of videos really has been lacking a beer review. Foul bum reviews just aren't the same, Nettie, sorry. So go on then, give us your beer review from Shanghai.
So, Nettie, we found a nice little bar called Gear. It's got a tap room. They brew on the premises. And you've got what?
Fruit sour beer.
Okay. And how much was it? Was it expensive?
Yeah, about £9.90 a pint.
Okay. Well, it's quite expensive, but
Yeah.
as in Cook's Export tradition, you're going to do the tasting.
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
Okay. First time tasting.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Describe it.
Really fruity.
Well, it's fruit and sour.
Really?
How sour is it?
A small amount of sour, not too sour.
Okay.
Very fruity. It's a bit like drinking Ribena, probably.
You like drinking Ribena?
It's like, yeah, would you say that? No, I don't like Ribena.
Well, you girls always go together in pairs, don't you? Alison's gone for the same.
So you do what you think.
It is really good. I don't think it tastes like Ribena. It's just got that nice silver after kick.
Yeah.
So it just gives you a nice little taste back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right, out of 5?
I'd say 5 out of 5. I like it.
Good.
It's good.
Okay, let's hope we can use that because they've got Sabrina Carpenter playing in the background or something like that. Okay. All right, beer review done?
This felt so familiar, and the bar staff spoke great English and were so welcoming. Si even got a free pint.
And this was a wonderful way to end our first stint in Shanghai, and in the morning we will be heading for Baoshan Port and our cruise ship, the Royal Caribbean Spectrum of the Seas.
We enjoyed the beers and wandered back to our hotel, stopping for sweet snacks on the way back, of course. The sign of a great night. We then turned in for the night.
Good morning.
Morning!
So our time here in Shanghai is coming to a temporary end. It's our last morning here. Brilliant day yesterday. The temple was amazing, and downtown Shanghai People's Park. Brilliant.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Really good day, and we found a lovely, great bar just down the corner here.
We did, and you actually got a free beer.
I got a free beer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Called Gear. I got the gear. There you go. Anyway, so we are leaving the hotel this morning. We are hopefully getting picked up shortly and to go to our ship. So we're joining Royal Caribbean Spectrum of the Seas. We've not done that before.
We haven't. No, we haven't done a Royal Caribbean before, have we?
So very, very exciting. But Shanghai, brilliant.
Brilliant. We've made so many memories. People are so kind and helpful, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a lovely city.
Really nice. Highly recommend it.
Definitely.
If you're thinking about coming here, then, you know,
Do it.
do it. Don't hesitate.
Do it.
It's brilliant. So, join us and come along with us on our adventures on Royal Caribbean Spectrum of the Seas, where we go to some more exotic destinations.
South Korea next, isn't it?
South Korea next.
Yay.
Then Japan. Amazing. We grabbed some breakfast and packed our cases before our taxis arrived to take us to the port to board our ship and home for the next 8 nights. Excitement was building, so why not join us in the next video where we show you the embarkation process for Spectrum of the Seas, the sail away party, and how we spent our first day on board.
Thanks for watching.
If you want to see any more of this craziness,
Well, hit the like button. Why not leave a comment? You know, we do reply to them and hit the notifications. You know, all the doobly-doo stuff that all us YouTubers do. But do you know what? If you do it, it's really appreciated. Cheers.